For this video, we are going to learn about spatial interpolation, which is the procedure of estimating the value of properties at unsampled sites within an area covered by existing observations. Interpolation essentially predicts values for an area based on a sample number of data points. And the map that we are going to interpolate is going to be a map of Pennsylvania temperature for a random day a couple months ago. So what I'm going to do is add my spreadsheet of values for temperatures at various locations, and if we open up that table, we can see that we have a list of cities, the temperature at that city, and then latitude, longitude coordinates for the city. So this is actually going to combine a number of skills that we've learned in previous lessons to be able to create this temperature map for Pennsylvania. The first thing that we have to do is we have to get these cities on a map, and because we have the latitude, longitude coordinates of the cities, we can just simply right-click on our data layer, go to Display XY, select the appropriate fields, longitude for the X field, latitude for the Y, and select WGS 1984 as the coordinate system, and then we can hit OK. And then it will put them on a map. These dots probably don't mean so much because we don't have any base layer behind it, so I'm going to just simply add a Pennsylvania boundary to this, or a Pennsylvania County file to this, I should say. And there we have our county file. And just to clean this up a little bit, I put it in a state plane projection, and there we have it. And so now that we display the XY data of this, I'm going to make this a permanent file by going to Data, Export Data, and I'm going to call it Cities. And add it to the map. Note that when I open up the attribute table for cities, it has all the previous attributes of the table, so it's all in there, and one of them is temperature. So that's the field that I'm going to use to do data interpolation. And I'm just getting rid of these because I like to clean up my table of contents after I run procedures so that I don't get confused and use the wrong data for various procedures. So now that we have a city's data layer with the temperature in it, we can interpolate a map for this. So what we're going to do is go to our toolbox, and our interpolation tools are in both Spatial Analyst and 3D Analyst. So you can get those either location. I'm going to stick with Spatial Analyst, and you're going to see that you have a number of different interpolation tools, and it's just the method is a little bit different with each one of these, and you can read about each of the methods and how the interpolation works just by going to the tool help and getting some information about it. I'm going to use IDW because it's probably one of the most common interpolation techniques, which stands for inverse distance weighted. So I'm going to input my features, which are cities. I'm going to tell it which the Z field is. What is the field that we are doing the interpolation for, and that's temperature. And then this is where the data is going to go. And just for right now, I'm just going to keep it where it is. But I'm going to make one little small change. I'm going to go to the environments here because I want the raster that's going to be generated to be the same extent as our county data layer. So I'm going to select same as that layer, just so that the raster stretches over this whole state of Pennsylvania rather than just the data points. And I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to click OK again. And it's going to start to run the IDW tool, as you can see here down at the bottom, globe spinning, tool working. And once it finishes, it's going to add a new layer that is going to be a raster data layer. And so the layer adds, but obviously we can't see it. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to hollow out my counties so we can see through that. And you can kind of see what this does. It basically creates a map that you're probably very familiar seeing on like the news when it's showing temperature maps, that it's collecting areas of temperature. And we can just kind of change the symbology for this to make it look a little better. And we can also label our cities if we want to label our cities so that we know what's happening around each. And as we learned in other modules, you can change the color ramp to be appropriate for symbolizing temperature data. We just go to graphic views to get the name of it, and we find that there's a temperature color scheme, and when I select that, I can hit OK, and we have that. A little hard on the eyes, but we have a very basic temperature map. And one last little tool to kind of throw in here that's a very nice thing to know about is something that's called clip to shape. If we go to our data frame properties and go to our data frame tab, we can clip this raster the way that it's displayed by using one of the data layers in here. So I'm gonna select clip to shape, and then I'm going to specify the shape, and I'm going to do the outline of our county features so that we get something that then looks like this. Notice how it gets rid of all the noise outside of Pennsylvania. So it's a way of just kind of cleaning up your display for your map.